Hi, hello, and welcome back to another Skyblock video. My name is Osas, and today we are going to be talking about every single coded economical event, as in one that changes the economy of the game, and the items that you can invest in those events to make lots of coins without really having to do anything. No zealot grinding, no bizarre flipping, just free coins. And before we get started, if you have not seen part 1 of this guide, I highly recommend watching it. It has lots of useful tips and explains a bit more about how events work and what I define as events. So if you haven't seen that, it will be in the card in the top right hand corner. And then second, here's a tip on when to sell your invested goods for maximum profit. So usually when something is going up in price, it'll go down in price eventually. So you just need to be sure to sell it at that top point. The way you can do that is to check prices for your item every day or even hour and note the differences between days/hours. If they begin to get slower, sell, and if you know that there's for some other reason you can wait longer, then do that. But if the increase begins to slow down, I would definitely sell. That's when I would sell. Okay. Let's talk events. Alright, so the first event, and quite the classic one, is the Season of Jerry, actually starting in 1 minute here. Because this event has been around for so long, in fact almost a year at this point, it doesn't really affect the market like it used to, where the price of gifts would go up and down. However, buying gifts right before the event starts might amount to something if you spend enough. It just won't be that big of a margin, and there definitely could be some other factor like normal bizarre flippers that just completely override it because it's such a small difference. So I would not invest in gift flipping. It's inefficient and not as good as some of the other stuff you can invest into, mainly because it's predictable and everybody knows about it. That's one of the things about investing. If everybody knows about it, it won't be good. Next up, there is the spooky event. And there's 2 parts to the spooky event. The first part is you have the cannies that are in the same predicament as the Jerry event because they've been around for even longer, since like the 1st October. And that was a very long time ago at this point. And so don't do those. And then the spooky fishing event and the new part of the spooky event where like the mobs spawn at night and they give special drops. So there's some stuff that you can sell in Bazaar that you get from those. You can see here the pumpkin guts, the ectoplasm, the werewolf skins, and the soul fragments. I would probably still avoid the werewolf skins and the soul fragments. Soul fragments might be worth it. In fact, that is a very big margin. Wow. You guys should flip that, just aside from this video. Stay away from werewolf skins because the price is still probably going down on them because they were super overhyped and they were going for like 200k per. Now they've come back to a reasonable price. But the other item too, it probably isn't that good either because there isn't very much demand for the soul whip. The thing that drives the price up when there isn't that much demand is demand. I mean, when there isn't that much supply is demand. So if there's no demand in the first place for an item, then you can't really expect the price to go up. Next up, we have the Aatrox event, and this isn't really an event in terms of like just normal game, but it's an event in the fact that it changes, and I talked about this in the first video. But more people do Slayers when Aatrox is available, which is kind of obvious. And because more people are doing Slayers, there's a larger supply of Slayer things like overfluxes, like anything you get from Slayers, or you get from the things that you have to kill to get the Slayers. And one of these items that I'm just going to give an example because this event actually has lots of potential because there's just so many items, is Golden Dust. And you can get Golden Dust from coming down here to the hub crypts and going either to that golden ghoul or this golden ghoul and killing it until you get the RNG drop for it. And because people do like revenants in the hub crypts, I don't know where else you would do revenants. The graveyard? What? Okay. Then you're probably gonna end up killing these a lot. And especially with the number of people that actually like to grind Slayer, because it's so OP, like it halves the price of Slayer and it can make it profitable so you don't have to spend so much. The price of golden dust drops so much. I in fact have already done this. I did it on the latest one, which is the second one I do believe. And it dropped to like 10k. So I bought 40 at 10k for 400k, and now, at least yesterday, you can see that they're back up to 100k. That is a times 10 investment. What is that, 1000% investment returns, something like that? That is just a simple way to turn 400k into 4 mil. Next up, we have the Paul Dungeon event, and the Paul Dungeon event is basically like Aatrox. It makes a lot of people do dungeons. And a lot of people are doing dungeons in the first place, but even more people do it during the time because of the buffs that he gives. And one of them specifically, the one that makes it so the price of dungeon items goes down by 20%, is pretty much a surefire way to get some free money from investing. So take something like an Ultimate Wise Book. They are probably going for around 100k right now. Yes, as you can see, 115k for an Ultimate Wise Book. When the Paul event is active and he has that perk, then everything will be 80k from those gold tests, like Wisdom and Ultimate Wise. It'll be 80k. And then the price will drop to like 90k. So it's definitely less of a profit, but you can still make a lot from that. If you didn't have that much money and just wanted to like get your first 10 mil or something. Then of course there's bigger flips like Shadow Assassin boots. They're a great flip. I did that. I made like 5 million coins from it. I just bought a whole bunch of Shadow Assassin boots when they were going for 1.2 mil, and then they go back up. Yeah, so the Shadow Assassin boots were worth like 1.5 mil after the event. Now they're back down again because of demand. Hey, you. Yes, you over there. If this video helped you in any way and you want to make me happy, I highly recommend subscribing and or liking the video. If you have any questions about the video or any comments, comment them down in the comment section. And if you want to talk to me, you can find me on my Discord. Link is in the description. That's all. Back to the video. But that's an easy way to make money too. There's so many items that have the potential to make profit here. You just have to watch them and make sure that they actually do work. Next up, we have the farming events. Now, the farming events did affect the economy, but since they happen often, the change is permanent. So as you can see here, they happen like every 3 days in Skyblock, which is really like every 1 hour, I'm pretty sure. So that's not very long at all. Which means that the change to the bazaar is permanent, and it's permanent downwards. If we were to look at the bazaar, something like pumpkins, dude, these used to be worth like 3, and now they're way low. And then something like, on the day of the release, hot potato books went soaring down. They're still down, but they were like 28k. At one point, they were actually 28k. So that could be an investment too. You wait for it to go back up when less people are doing the farming event. So I wouldn't call the farming event a coded event, although it is. I would more call it a game update in terms of the way it affected the economy. Then next up we have the fishing event, and the fishing event is the event where Marina is here. And in the Marina event you can fish for sharks and stuff like that. Now, the fishing event used to be very good the first couple of times for investing, but not as much these days. And you might get something out of Megalodon flipping, buying Megalodons during the event and then selling them later when there's less of them. But I'm not really sure. A fishing event just doesn't seem very good. It's very expended. As you can see, everything is worth not very much anymore. However, the great white shark tooth did go up. So it used to be 500k. That's when I bought my legendary shark tooth talisman. But now they're back up to 1 mil. So that's a 100% increase. And then there's the mining event, of course, brought to you by Mayor Cole. Mining Fiesta schedules 2 mining events. Earn lots of mining XP. Basically, they want you to mine manually. And when people mine manually, they're going to get the refined ore, which is pretty much the only custom item for this event. I don't think these will actually be affected too much because the amount of people that have mining minions, like Diamonds, everybody has diamond spreading. But your refined ore, this was worth 1 million coins before the event, and then after these 2 events, it's back down to 450k. It actually went down to like 370k, and then up to 570k. So I caught it at 270k and sold it at 550k, and now it's back down again because of demand. So that one might be worth it to do a couple more times, but definitely not going to make as much from these first 2 events. In fact, you might just be better off actually playing in the mining event, but I don't want to. And then next up we have the Mythology event, and as you probably know, the Mythology event is the one where you hold out the ancestral spade and do stuff, but as you can see, the mythological ritual is not active because Diana is not mayor. And the items you can get from that, there's 4 different ones. Let's see. There's the Griffin Feather, the Daedalus Stick, the Ancient Claw, and the Enchanted Ancient Claw. The only one that seems like it's worth getting is the Griffin Feather, and for this one, I'll show you an example. This happens for a lot of the other good ones too, but I'm gonna go to stonks.gg. And as you can see, if we were to look up Griffin Feather, we can look at what it looks like. So let me show you how I read this. So this is the start. Of course, it used to be worth a lot, and then it dropped back down to normal reasonable price when the event actually started. Down here on the bottom is the buy volume and sell volume. So whenever this is high, you know that there's lots of demand slash selling, and that tends to correspond with the amount of people that are buying and selling. Now this first time, there's tons of places that you could have just done some quick sells and buys. 78k, 98k. If you bought it right at the bottom, 51k, and sold it at the top here, or up here even, that's like 200% profit. But even this time, the time that I invested, you can see that it was 50k, and then it's slowly been going up because there is a demand still for Griffin Feathers. And then finally, the last event that I can think of is the Darker Auctions. Now, of course, there's like Magma event, but who does Magma event? That might have been worth it, like back when there was no end, but there's just no demand for any of the items from the Magma event. And then there is the Darker Auctions. Now, the Darker Auctions is a darker version of the Dark Auctions, and it comes because Sirius is mayor. Sirius is a special mayor, so this really does not happen that often. It's only happened once, and I expect it to happen again maybe in 2 months, something like that. The Darker Auctions event is a huge investment opportunity because of the high value items and the rarity of the event. Any item from there will be good, especially for the next one. If there is a couple more, which is gonna be in a very long time, then those things will cost even more, and you might want to get some of the more rare ones, because the Midas staff appears in every one, so it might not actually be that good, even though there is a higher demand for it. So if we were to look up Midas staff, during the event, they were going for about 100 mil for max one, maybe 105 mil. A little bit of profit there. Okay, this is the first 100 mil Midas on EH right now, and it's going for 124 mil. That is 24 million coins of profit from doing nothing. That's a lot of money. See, this event could really turn into something. And then just look at something like the Hegemony artifact, which I believe was going for 66 mil at its lowest. Now it's 87 mil. Because there's just no supply, and there's still demand because not enough of them were generated to fill every endgame player's slot. And yeah, I hope that I showed you like some examples of different items and events you could invest into, and then that should give you some ideas on other ones you can do, or if you want to do the ones that are in the example, they still work pretty well. Part 3 of this guide will come out maybe next weekend, because I definitely want to cover some of the new Floor 7 stuff, and I have a lot of video ideas that are probably going to get stolen if I don't do them quick, so we're going to try to get that quickly done. But with that out of the way, I have nothing more to say. See ya!